Attack on Titan Season 4 Episode 5, titled Declaration of War. This episode has been highly anticipated for a long time now by manga readers, but after just finishing the episode myself, the whole thing was executed perfectly. I have no complaints whatsoever. From the setting of the mood to the OSTs, the voice acting, pacing, everything was spot on, and I really got to feel like I was in there myself. However, today I'm going to be breaking down and analysing this latest episode of Attack on Titan while giving my thoughts and clearing up things you might have missed or weren't sure about. And with that being said, I'm not going to waste time with my introduction, so let's begin. This episode starts off with Reiner having a flashback to when he, Annie and Bertolt had invaded the walls. Whilst taking a stroll, Bertolt recalls the man that they met that hung himself, and he says he's been constantly dreaming about him. Bertolt wants to know why that man told him the story of him fleeing from the Titans and leaving behind 3 children. To which Annie responds that he likely wanted forgiveness, whereas Bertolt thinks that he wanted someone to judge him for his actions. And although we will never know why he actually told them, the 2 answers that Annie and Bertolt gave are the perfect way to describe how Reiner acts in this episode, which is wanting forgiveness and wanting to be judged by no one other than Eren. However, after this short flashback, we immediately pick off where the last episode ended, with Reiner and Eren meeting. And the thing about the whole situation that really does it for me is the fact that Reiner with one look immediately knows that the man sitting in front of him is Eren. The way that he's just trembling at the sight of him and is at a loss for words just makes the whole scene way more impactful, especially since if Eren is here in Mali, it can only mean one thing. When you take it from the perspective of Reiner, who lived in the walls for all those years while playing a soldier, he knows that the amount of information the people in the walls had was very limited. They were completely clueless about everything regarding the outside world, but now he just sees Eren, his worst enemy, appear right in front of him. And his response just perfectly reflects the severity of the situation. However, moving forward, we have Willy Tybur meeting Miss Kiyomi, the head of the Azumabito clan. And as mentioned in the previous episode, Willy Tybur has this theatrical production that he's going to perform basically in front of the whole world. Since many leaders of different nations, major news outlets, and important figures are present in the internment zone and are ready to hear the truths he has to reveal past events, since he's the head of the Tybur family. So we have really stressed out about performing now that the time's come, and even though he says it's due to stage fright, we know that he's aware of the potential threat of Paradis forces being present in Mali already, which is what he and Commander Magath were talking about in the last episode. And he knows that going along with this performance will put his life in danger, and he most likely will end up being killed, which is the real reason why he's actually so nervous. Now back to Eren, Reiner and Falco. Eren is telling Reiner to sit down because obviously he wants to talk, and he points out that the positioning of the basement they're in is behind the stage, and that there are loads of people above them waiting for the production to start. So as a viewer, it's really nice because this whole episode we get the perspective of everything that's going on. We have Eren and Reiner talking, and we are also in earshot of Willy Tybur's speech, which is a very nice touch. And now that I've seen this whole sequence animated, I can definitely appreciate it more than I did in the manga. And poor Falco, man, he's just in the middle of the whole situation between Eren, who is literally about to declare war, and Reiner, who is realizing what Eren's arrival means. And although he understands what's going on here later, this whole scene of him asking Eren, or should I say Mr. Kruger, did you hurt your hand, is just hilarious / terrible. It's hilarious for me watching, since Eren is literally threatening everyone in the room right now to follow through with what he's saying, and Falco has no idea that this is happening, because he obviously doesn't know that Eren at this point in time is a Titan shifter, and the cut on his hand is a prerequisite for him to transform into a Titan at any moment. And then we obviously have Reiner, who once again knows he's in deep trouble and doesn't know how to react about this whole situation. However, on the outside we have all these people in the area from different nations ready to watch Willy's production, and the full military might of Mali has the whole area locked off and is keeping watch. The reason for this being is that they know that the enemy, which is Eren Yeager and the forces of Paradis, might already be on the island and planning to make a move at any moment. And from the outside looking in, it's kinda crazy the risk being taken by holding this event, not just for Willy Tybur but for civilians. And the select few in Mali has this information that there's potentially infiltrators on home soil, and yet still they are putting all these lives at risk. But then again, if there's an attack by enemy Paradis forces, it will further push the agenda of attacking the island. After this scene, we have this really shady looking Malian warrior telling the warrior unit that they've been summoned by Magath, but he actually ends up sending Zeke Porco into an anti-Titan trap hole, which essentially prevents them from transforming because they end up being crushed to death by how narrow it is. So there's just a lot going on in this episode, and it's clear that Paradis forces are starting to make their move. Reiner then asks Eren why did he come here and what did you come here to do, and Eren straight up says the same reason you did and because he has no other choice. So Eren's intentions are crystal clear. He's here on Marley to make a move on his enemies, and this is basically the same as Reiner and the other warriors all those years ago when they broke into Paradise Island to try and retake the founder. We then have Willy Tybur's whole speech, which I just want to say was handled perfectly, thank you Mappa, where he revealed the truth of Marley being liberated by none other than the Eldian King Fritz, the Tybur family being frauds, and just clearing up the whole truth about how the world became the way it is today. And for the sake of the video being too long, I won't go into depth on this whole speech, but you can check my video in the description below where I talked about the details. And another thing I wanted to address about this episode is the parallels Isayama has with Eren and Reiner, and also the change in Eren and how mature he's actually grown. We knew at the end of season 3 he was changing after witnessing the memories of the past Attack Titans, but he's actually grown up a lot in the span of 4 years, to where Reiner was even shocked when he said, "You're here to make us die the most excruciating deaths possible," and Eren was just like, "Did I say that? Well, forget about it." Ever since Eren has seen how life is on the other side, he knows that people's circumstances and surroundings can manipulate their actions and plunge them right into hell or doing stuff that they don't want to, which unfortunately is his and Reiner's reality. And because of this, both of them have suffered, and they both understand this, which is why Eren understands why Reiner did what he did when he was younger, breaking into the walls, and why Reiner was apologizing for the death of his mother and blaming himself for his actions all those years ago. But back to what I was saying about the parallels. Eren casually transforming and making his move on Marley, and when Reiner and Bertolt revealed their identity in season 2, just comparing the two scenes is absolutely amazing. And even taking into account their mind frames when doing so, Eren with his moving forward to destroy his enemies because he has no choice, and Reiner saying that he didn't know what was right or wrong anymore, but he would fulfill his duty to the bitter end as a warrior. Seeing that whole role reversed through this episode had me at a loss for words. And the final aspect of the episode I'll address in this video is Willy and Eren's declaration of war. As Willy Tybur finishes revealing the truth about the past, he begs for the people to side with him as he declares war on Paradise. Because Eren possesses the founding titan, he is literally the biggest threat on the planet, as he can awaken the millions of colossal titans inside of the walls of Paradise. So if Eren ends up initiating the rumbling, nobody can stop him and it will spell the end of the world. And as Willy says that he declares war on Paradise to prevent this, Eren transforms and crashes him right in front of everyone, and by doing so declares war himself. However, that brings me to the end of the video. This episode was absolutely insane, and I just love Attack on Titan, man. This was definitely the best episode of season 4 yet, so if you enjoyed the video and want more videos like this, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions that I may not have got around to in this breakdown / analysis, make sure to comment them down below and I'll be sure to respond. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.